And welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. It's a little darker, dreary day, but there are reasons to be smiling and be excited.
Who is not dark and dreary today? That would be you.
It is not.
Jeff didn't want to. When we talked about it, Jeff didn't want to talk about it because he's like, no one cares. And you're right. Very few people care because who cares about Loyal Sock? But, and I know we're like worldwide. You know this internet thing goes everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So, like, we're all over the world. But here in local, where we're at North Central PA, Loyal Sock High School, the boys basketball team beat Mass Civics and Science, which, again, doesn't impress me because there's no bigger nerd school in the world than Mass Civics and Science. And but anyway, state semifinals. You guys won yesterday. You're off to the state finals. Jeff is, we'll just say, an intricate member of the coaching staff. I will say this to you because you're young, and a lot of you young people don't really understand these things. When I talk to you, because the way it works in the sports world, especially here, you've got the public schools versus the private schools, and we have these debates every year. And it's, in a lot of situations, it's almost impossible for the public schools to win these team sports against private schools. So you get into the final 8 of the state quarterfinals, and you're playing some charter school, which it doesn't matter their name, whatever, I don't remember. And so I'm assuming, I was like, you're an underdog, right? And you said, yeah. And I'm guessing, I said, give me a point spread. And I was waiting for you to say, I don't know, 10 or 12. And you're like, 3. And I was like, really? He goes, no, we can win. They're like, they're good, but we're good. We could win. And then you beat them by 4, and it was a nip and tuck game. And it was great. So now you go on to another, and you play this Mass Civics and Science, who's great every year. And I said to you, like, what do you think? And you said, like, I didn't say this on the air, but you're like, it's probably coin flip. And first of all, I'm thinking, wow. And then second of all, so the game goes on. For those of you who didn't see it, in the fourth quarter, you guys are up 16. You're up 18. So let me explain to you how coin flips work. Coin flips are dramatic. They're action-packed. They go right down to you're living and dying with every. I mean, I'm sitting here going, they have 12, they have 30. Oh, no, they made a layup. Like, it was the boring. You guys have no sense of drama, no sense of excitement. It was the boringest state semifinal. It got close. The third quarter was interesting because the third quarter was iffy, and they got down to like 4. I was like, we're at the end. We're like, what time is Wheel of Fortune on? Like, or what are we missing? We should turn this off and watch something else because you just crushed them. And that's not how coin flips work. Coin flip can go either way. When you're up 18 with 2.5 minutes to go, it can't go either way.
No, you have a good point. I'll try to be more precise next time, and I'll try to be more correct. No, I think the hardest part to explain to people who maybe don't understand it is when you are a public school, you're just not supposed to make the state championship, especially at the smaller school divisions. So like the 1A, 2A, 3A. I know in our 3A field, I can't remember the last time a public school made the championship from the east side of the bracket because you have to compete with Philly. So yeah, I felt really good. I thought we had good chances against the team we played, but there's always in the back of your head, like the system is just not designed for you to make it if you're a small public school.
Well, and you've told me all summer, like you're like, no, we're going to be good. But you're like, we have 6 guys. We play 6 guys. Our 6 guys are good. We're not going to have a lot of depth. So, anybody will tell you got to stay healthy. This year, you got to stay away from COVID. But it has been, I'll tell you how miraculous your run has been. And you don't think it's miraculous because you're like, we're good. We're as good as these teams. Like, this is not like Oral Roberts winning. This is like, we're good. But this is the miraculous part. I was in Montoursville. I was in Montoursville watching the game with 3 Montoursville people, and we were all rooting for Loyal Sock. That is as miraculous as it comes.
I feel like, it's still surreal. I might be one of the only people like not truly shocked, like in our area, because I'm just around the kids so much, and I just know the work they put in. And so like I know how difficult it is to get there. It is surreal. I don't know if it still really has hit me yet, but I think I may be one of the only people that's not like really surprised or shocked. Like the kids work so hard and they're very, very good. They listen.
Oh,
No,
here we
they're
go.
a good
That's
group
it.
of kids.
Whatever. All right, now this. I mean, I know we've lost all our audience anyway, because we're talking about Loyal Side basketball. But now we just lost them all. But it was interesting early in the year because you tell me in the off season. I asked you about this kid, and you're like, "Oh, he's really good." And then I broadcast your first game. Was Jersey Shore your first game? I think it was.
I believe so.
And I broadcast that game, and I remember telling you afterwards, I was like, "This Jennings kid's a lot better than I thought." And you're like, "Yeah, he's good." And you just like you're so understated anyway, and you're just like, "No, we're good. No, we're good. No, he's good. He's good." And I'm like, yeah. You almost sound like a Little League mom at times. You're like, "Oh no, he's good, and he's good, and Joey's good, and Johnny's good, and they're all good." And they are. They're like, you guys are really good, and that's why. You know how you can tell you're really good because you're in the state finals.
It's a group of guys that I've always said, like, they've just always kind of been understated. And what I mean by that is, like, there was always a disclaimer when people would talk about them. So they'd be like, oh, they can really shoot, but they're 5'8". They play great defense, but they're really scrawny, like they're kind of twerpy. And I've just gotten to the point now where, like, no, like, they're good. They are good. They play together. Yeah, they play together, they defend, and they truly believe. Like, I'm telling you, like, they really thought, this is not a surprise to them. Like, they really believe. Like, teams say it, right? Like, teams like, oh, we're going to Hershey. Like, I'm telling you, like, this group, they believe. They would have been shocked if they weren't in Hershey, and there's something to be said for that. Like, they really believed they could do it, truly.
Oh, I'll tell you what's neat for these kids, and for some people, depending on where they're watching from, because I have friends in Baltimore. I have a lot of friends in Baltimore when I lived there. Here, like, high school sports is a huge deal. Like, you drive down the road and you see signs already up that says, "Congratulations, Sock, from the game yesterday, and good luck." And, again, people in neighboring towns are watching and making sure that they see it. And, my son was at his mom's house, and he's texting me during the game. And you get in the bigger cities, and high school sports is, back in the days where the sports section was big, it's on page 14. It's never there's so much big league stuff going on from both pros and colleges, depending on where you're at, that the high school sports get shoved so far away. And here Penn State football is kind of like the big league sport, but it's in the fall, and because of where we are, if math, civics, and science beat you, they're not a big story in Philadelphia. Because they just signed Joe Flacco as a backup quarterback. The Phillies are getting ready. The Sixers are there, and they've got MVP candidates, and all these, Villanova's in March Madness, but here it's a big deal. So I hope the kids enjoy it, and I hope they can enjoy the moment. But it is hard because you want to enjoy the moment, but you don't want to enjoy it too much because you still got more games to play, and you can't be an athlete and go like this. You can't ride the high. You just got to be.
We've really tried in the last month or so, we've really tried to take step backs at times and enjoy it. And so, the last thing that we said to them before we beat executive, after we beat executive, was don't think about anything else tonight. Don't think about the next game. Don't just enjoy the next 8 hours. Soak it in, have fun, because it's so difficult. You don't get to experience it very often if you're a small public school. And so just selling them on that idea. And it was, I kept trying to tell them before they got on the bus last night, don't get on YouTube and watch Brookville. Don't try to scout the team. Just enjoy the bus ride. Enjoy tonight. Just be in the moment, because once you wake up the next day, you have no choice but to move on. So we have tried to figure out how to gauge that, and they're doing a nice job with it.
Do you realize how many relationship issues you caused? When guys didn't text their girlfriend, and the girl's like, "Why didn't you text me?" And he said, "Coach told me not to think about anything else tonight," and that includes you. So and now it's backfired on you because you wanted them to stay calm. Now they're trying to come to practice. Their girlfriend's mad at them, and they're like, "Listen, honey, I'm in the state finals. We got big," and she doesn't care because she's mad because he didn't text her after the game, and it was all your fault. No. It was all your fault.
That's not what's going to bring us down. We're going to spin the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel now. We'll come back to the NHL. Just as a quick reminder, March Madness is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. Thank you to Buffalo Wild Wings. We've got a couple of gift cards up on the wheel from them. We also still have Palco Federal Credit Union with some Visa gift cards. We have Eat and Run Catering. We've got Moon and Raven. We have the break room as well. No one has hit the break room gift cards yet. We still have those up there. As the weather's getting nicer and we're breaking out, I'm sure there's some people that have been cooped up inside that could go and break some stuff and blow off some steam. So I'm sure eventually here we'll hit a break room gift card so someone can do that. And then we also
I mentioned this before. I don't mean to cut you off. That is one of the things. That can't be a bad time. It is something I will do that at some point. And when I cannot believe that going to the break room is anything but a blast.
We should go there for one show. We should do the midday show at the break room one day. That'd be fun.
Yes, we should.
We'll get a hold of them and see what we can do. And then we also have the cash prizes as well. We have a $20 cash prize to help you enjoy happy hour somewhere. And then we also have a larger jackpot, which I believe is up to $155 now, if I'm remembering correctly.
It's something like that. It's either $150 or $155, which you can also enjoy it would be an even happier hour if you won that one. So you might not remember any of it, but it may be your last happy hour. But at least it was fun.
That's what we should call the cash prizes: the happy hour and happier hour.
The happier hour.
Name of it. Today's random winner. The way that you enter, by the way, join the Midday Show Facebook group by NorthcentralPa.com. Go to Facebook, type in the Midday Show. It's the first thing that'll pop up. Click, join, follow along with us. We're talking about different ways to grow it out. We're going to start adding sponsors and start adding some different things and posting some different stuff within the group. So come follow, come join us, give yourself a chance to win and an opportunity to get some prizes. Today's random winner from the Midday Show Facebook group, as my dog sprints up the steps, is Veronica Elkrum. Veronica Elkrum. Here we go. That sounds like a winning name.
Does it? You're hot, man. You're hot. If there's ever been a time I believed in you, it's today.
All right, here we go. Veronica Elkrum. Oh, just shy. She was just shy of the break room.
That's tough break. We need to get a glowier flicker thingy that we can. It needs to be like neon so you can see it better.
We can hook that up. We can definitely get a glowy one. This is episode 42. Like, we're just getting started. We're figuring this out with you.
There we go.
We're getting there. So one of the things, just to backpedal a little bit, there was an NHL Ref, and the NHL has started miking up their referees, which this isn't uncommon. They do it in most professional sports. The NHL, unfortunately, had a referee that was overheard basically implying that he owed a team a call. And unfortunately for the referee, the NHL decided that the only action that could be taken was to fire him. I'm still I'm on the fence about this. I'm hoping maybe as we talk this out, I'll decide which side to go on. But I think it's a tough spot the NHL was in.
I think, and what's a lot of these scenarios that we talk about, no matter what, we can relay it back to like life. And I'm sure there are places where at your workplace, you give this to this employee, so the next one, the next lead or whatever is going to go to this one. And with your kids, like I have this kid, I have this. In sports with officials, it happens, and I've umpired, I've officiated, and there are times that you can just tell by everyone's reaction that you blew the call. And you immediately feel like this big, and you're like, I want to make it right. And it happens in sports all the time. Maybe in life it doesn't happen as much as it should, but there are lots of times where a referee or an umpire or whatever is like, I blew it, and if I get a chance, the next close call, I'm going to give it to the other team to try to help out. And it just kind of makes things fair in the world. He said it out loud, and apparently he's going to get fired. He got fired for it, and it happens all the time in every sport.
Yeah, you and I talked about it. I think there's two different kinds of makeup calls, right? I think there's the blatant makeup call where somebody makes a call, they know they made a mistake. So the next time down the ice or down the floor or down the field, they will make a call that has nothing to do with the relevancy of the last call. They're just trying to even it up and give it back to the other team. I also think there's the makeup call where they're trying to be fair or not be hypocritical. So someone will call, a moving screen, a holding call in football, something, and then the very next possession, they'll call the same call on the other team. And I had playing in college, you would talk to the referees, and I had numerous conversations with referees where I would say to them, like, hey, you owe me one. And they knew that I was half joking, but also half seriously, I know you missed that one. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to give you a hard time, but the next time I go into the lane, I'm expecting to get 2 free throws because you owe me one. It happens all the time in basketball. I'm assuming those types of things happen in hockey as well. I don't know what to do because it is part of the chatter. It's a natural thing. Let's put it this way. I don't think what he said is unusual.
Right. And that's the thing. And it's those things that happen all the time, but what do you say? But if they say it out loud, can we? So I don't know. I think it's, I don't know. It is unfortunate. I love the live mics because it catches the profanity from the players all the time before they can hit the button. And there are times, do you remember the first football game that they played on Nickelodeon? The referee was calling a penalty, and this is on Nickelodeon, and they're trying to get young viewers in, and the referee's calling a penalty, and the guy he called it on didn't know. He's walking away, and he turns around, and he's like, "What the F?" And I was telling my kids, it's the loudest one I've heard all year. It happens every once in a while in sports, but the fact that this one was on Nickelodeon just makes it hysterical. But the live, it's interesting. It's just, I don't know. Life, there's a lot of makeup calls in life. There's a lot of I got to throw this person a bone because, just because, and to make things fair. And I don't know. It's just weird that the guy got fired, but what are you going to do?
You sound on the fence the same way that I am. After the last 4 or 5 minutes, I'm leaning more towards I think the NHL could have defended him maybe more than what they did.
My view is, I was just going to say, my view is he a good ref or not? He has a history. If he's a terrible ref and you want to get rid of him anyway, then go. If he's a good ref and they let him go for this, that's too bad.
Right. And I'm sure, I'm going to guess and say, he didn't have the option to have a hot mic. I'm going to assume that. I mean, maybe that's not a safe assumption, but, if it wasn't his choice, if it's just something in the NHL is hey, referees, you're going to have hot mics and everything. I don't, I feel like the NHL, I'm leaning more towards that the NHL maybe could have worked with them or worked with the situation. I get they want the integrity of their league to be upheld, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that this seems too reactionary. I don't feel like he did anything out of the norm.
Well, the other thing, too, that you have to keep in mind, and then we'll move on, is for all these, they're fighting for ratings. And if this is a way that the NHL's listen, we are going to get our name in the news, that these 2 yucca-pucks in central Pennsylvania who don't even have hockey anywhere near them, they're going to talk about us that any pub is good pub. And they're oh, look at the integrity of it. But it just gets the NHL back in the news. So when everyone's fighting for it. So, maybe that was part of it too. They're if we just kind of talk to this guy and sweep it under the rug, we don't get a press opportunity out of it. If we fire him, we're back in this, we're on the tips of people's tongues, even if it's only for 24 hours.
Yeah, no, I agree. So you found, just to end the show today, you found a list. You and I are movie buffs. We enjoy talking about it. Siskel and Ebert, obviously were popular movie critics, and Ebert had kind of a no-go list, or a list was put out of the movies, most popular movies he hated the most.
Yeah, there's a list, and Siskel passed away. Well, I don't remember when Gene Siskel passed away, but Roger Ebert's still around, and I don't know when this list came out from, but one of the things that fascinates me in life is, that the movies that were panned, the albums that were panned, the things that the genius critics shot down. and they're all, the Harry Potters of the world, and the Notebook, which supposedly couldn't get published, and all these things. So I saw this list, and I'm one of the biggest clickbait suckers you'll ever see, and then you find out the more you click on clickbait because of the algorithm, the more you get them. So it's kind of like it's an addiction. But I was scrolling through them because I was like, there have to be some movies in here that just don't make any sense. And there were 4 that just jumped out at me. One of them right away was Tommy Boy. And I can understand how an old snooty, cinema film person didn't like Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy's great.
Oh, Tommy Boy's amazing. Really quickly, happy birthday to Rhiannon. Thank you for joining us. Happy birthday. Tommy Boy's amazing. The opening scene, comedy is the opening scene for me. I would love to someday to rank like the opening scenes in comedy movies. Tommy Boy's is one of the best. Like him waking up and running to class is to this day like one of the best opening scenes in a comedy. He didn't love stupid comedies. Like if you look at his list and you go through his ratings, he was not in love with like the dumb, not having like this bigger meaning comedy. And that was his loss. That's not our loss. That's his loss.
Such as Fast Times at Ridgemont High that he didn't like either.
Yeah, I like, you and I kind of go back and forth about this one. I like it. It is not something I ever sit down and I'm like, I'm going to watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like I never sit down and I'm like, I have to watch this.
Top 10 comedy all time. It is. Listen, if you are a dude, the Phoebe Cates out of the pool scene is one of the, like when they ever do iconic movie scenes, Phoebe Cates getting out of the pool.
But if your best scene in a comedy is that, I don't know if you're a top 10 comedy.
Oh, but Sean Penn is Nicole. Nah, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, if that's the scene that you like hold the movie up on, like, I don't know if I'm sure you're a good movie. Like I said, I like it. I just don't think that makes you a top 10 comedy.
It's a good scene, and you're going to go watch it again later today.
I don't think so.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. He didn't like Ace Ventura, which I can't really talk about because I've never seen it.
Yeah, and again, the Ace Venturas is right along there. I mean, obviously, Chris Farley and Jim Carrey have similarities, but they also can be far apart. But it's that idea of like, he did not love like off the script slapstick comedy for like, I don't want to call it the simpleton, but he didn't like brain dead comedy. Like he didn't like the idea of like, I'm sitting in this chair and my only goal in life is to not think about the factors in life. Like I'm just trying to laugh and forget that the outside world exists because someone on my screen is going to do something stupid. And he never liked that.
Imagine if you were that snooty that you couldn't laugh at Tommy Boy and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
No, or Ace Ventura.
My dad's got this really awesome set of tools. I mean, there's just that is birds. And the last one, to go away from it, he didn't like The Usual Suspects, which is shocking to me. I think it won Best Original Screenplay. Like The Usual Suspects is the opposite. It is clever. It is really clever. And I know you've told me you've never seen it. And the reason is because you're not very clever. But this is I can't believe that a real film person wouldn't like The Usual Suspects.
No, there's 2 thoughts on that. One, if I made a list of the movies I have to watch, The Usual Suspects is like in the top 5. Like it's just, there's those movies like you're just like, you never get to, and it just kind of, that's The Usual Suspects is one for me that's always at the top of the list, and I just haven't watched it yet. The other thing, like, as much as I hated Ebert because of like those things, like Ebert always drove me nuts because just, it's not so much pompous, but it was just this idea of like, he just refused to let things be what they were. Like, it's okay for a comedy not to solve the world. Like, it was okay for a romantic movie to not solve relationships or like dive into like finding a greater self, or he had to mean something and he just couldn't get past that. The other side of that though, is I kind of respect him for it. Like, I kind of respect him for the fact that he so badly wanted things to mean more than what they were, that when it was simple, he just couldn't respect it. And part of me is kind of like, you know what? Like, he stuck to his guns and he never went away from that.
He stuck to his guns. That's a tough way to live. I just heard a quote from something like, whatever it is in life, you have to judge it in the context that it was intended. And I say that to my kids, like, as they were growing up, like, if someone's joking and they're trying to be funny, like, then we have to keep that in mind. Just because it wasn't funny, but if someone's saying something to you to be mean or to be hurtful, it's one thing. If somebody says a joke that you were kind of offended by or bothered by, but they meant it as a joke, like, we've got to take it for what it was and what it was intended for. So, yeah, if you don't have the ability to, if you can't, like, play the varieties, if you can't watch something dramatic and watch something historical and watch something intelligent and then go laugh at Fast Times at Ridgemont High, like, that's a you problem. Like, you're a one-trick pony. So that's unfortunate that that's the way it went. But I will add Ace Ventura to my list. It's not as high as Sweet Home Alabama, because Sweet Home Alabama is clearly number one, and
Right.
I will lose all respect from you, whatever respect is left, if I don't watch Sweet Home Alabama. But Ace Ventura is one that I've just stumbled across a bunch of times and never watched it.
Yeah. We're going to wrap up the show here, but I have a recommendation. I don't know if you do. I just recently finished Last Chance U on Netflix. This is the first year that they did a basketball version. The previous 4 seasons are football. What they do is they go to JUCOs around the country, and they basically follow a team for a season. And you get to see, like, the best athletes in the country that didn't qualify to get a Division I scholarship or Division II scholarship. So they call it Last Chance U, because this is their last chance to kind of get where they want to get to. And whether that's getting a scholarship and getting a degree, or even further, whether it be a contract professionally, it's worth watching all 5. If you're a basketball fan, skip the first 4 seasons of football and go straight to 5. The characters, the relationships, and just like the balance of what's on the line for these kids, it is just riveting television. And you are glued to them you want them to succeed the moment they're on the screen. And they're not in, like, I mean this very, like, they're trying to figure life out. It's not like you're cheering for them because they're great people. Like, they're trying to find themselves. They're trying to be better people. They're trying to become basically like abiding citizens that can succeed at the next level. And it is like, you are hooked. It is really well done. And if you're a football fan, the first 4 seasons are out of this world. So my recommendation, if you're somebody that's looking for something to watch, Netflix, Last Chance U, there's 5 seasons now. You can binge it. And you will fall in love with these kids.
See, my recommendation is for these kids, if they're trying to figure life out, they should just watch us, because we have it all figured out. Like, how much simpler can that be? I don't have any of those recommendations. I just want to say, over the weekend, because of the whole COVID stuff, and because I had it and my mom had it, and then my daughter got contact traced because her boyfriend had it, so she couldn't. So there was like a 5-week span or whatever that I never had all my kids with me on a weekend. And I just had them, and I know it was March Madness, but I'm like, we're watching a family movie. Somebody picks up, and my daughter picked Weekend at Bernie's. And I was pumped. Everyone liked it. And it's fun when you can go, because as we've talked about, sometimes you pull out the old school ones and we're like, oh, this is a good movie. And the kids are like, Dad, this is stupid. And so that for them to break out an old one, depending on what, my kids are teenagers, Weekend at Bernie's was fun. It's actually better than I remember. Like, it's held for its ridiculousness and what it is. It's kind of held up. It's all right.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Again, I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. We're going to keep this rolling. Join the Midday Show Facebook group at NorthcentralPa.com. Go to Facebook, type in the Midday Show, click join, follow along. You're automatically entered for a chance to win, to have your name drawn. And if your name is drawn, we'll spin the prize wheel for you and see what we got. lots of big things coming, new sponsors, new topics, new ideas. We're going to do the loser wheel coming up here soon. Like, we've got a lot of stuff coming. So please share, please join, and, become a part of the Midday show.
And I promise we won't talk about Loyal Sock basketball anymore, unless if they win, we might have to a little bit.
Sounds like a good Monday morning topic. I got to be honest.
I know, like, a lot. I can't imagine how many people just turned off in droves because they're like, oh, I would listen to Lancer basketball. Why do I want to listen to that? But yeah, congratulations to them. And again, we mentioned yesterday, congratulations to the Mount Carmel girls.
Yes.
You're the first in, I think it's 20 years. Was it 2001? The first this like Central Pennsylvania team to make the state finals in basketball. I think it was Montoursville back in the Kelly Mazzani days.
Yes.
I don't know, down in the Cole region they might have had other. I'm not sure, but at least for like Lycoming County, it's been 20 years. So this is a big deal.
Yes. So again, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Be sure to join the Midday Show Facebook group. And thanks for following along with us at NorthcentralPa.com.
Phoebe Cates, go watch her.